The clash between Mercedes and FIA. Dominating the Formula One championship with 7 drivers' titles and 8 consecutive constructors' titles is not an easy streak to maintain. But last year, they lost the drivers' title to Red Bull's Max Verstappen in a more dramatic way due to a controversial decision from the race control. During the last few laps within the final race of the season, this was the place where the relationship between FIA and Mercedes started to ruin. All those dramas came to an end, sacking the previous race director, Michael Masi, from his role. At the end of the 2021 season, some heated up conversation between Toto Wolff and FIA, complaining that the driver's title was robbed from them. Hey guys, welcome back to F1 Leaked, the best place for your daily dose of trending news and gossips regarding Formula One. Before we proceed, hit the subscribe button and smash the notification bell for more exciting updates. After the appointment of Neil Wittich as the new race director, things seemed to be normal, cooling down the paddock. Everyone was surprised when race director Neil Wittich informed that he is going to enforce the rule banning the jewelry in his pre-race notes during Melbourne Grand Prix. This is the little spark that runs up to a wildfire now. Now the whole paddock is heated up due to this decision, resulting in a potential race ban for Lewis Hamilton during the historical Monaco Grand Prix. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff feels that Wittich's decision to enforce the jewelry ban is his biggest faux pas of the season. He will take that 1,000 times over. Toto Wolff said how he has run the first few races has been respectful, solid, and he hasn't put a single foot wrong. But is that a battle he needs to have at this stage? However, if it turns out to be the biggest unfortunate misstep of a race director, I would take it 1,000 times over. The Mercedes boss further criticized the action of former race director Michael Masi, who made a controversial decision during the final race of the 2021 season that cost the driver's title for Mercedes. He labeled Masi as a liability for the sport. It's quite interesting because I had lunch with him, Masi, on the Wednesday before the race, said Wolff. I said to him, I really want to tell you, without patronizing you, that you need to take criticism on board and develop from there. Lewis does it every day, but you are a guy who always seems to know better. It wasn't about influencing him, but really giving him my honest feedback that he shouldn't block outside opinion as simply being wrong. You hear from the drivers and how the drivers' briefings were conducted by Masi, and some of the guys said it was almost disrespectful how he treated some of them. Toto Wolff said these comments are under a situation where FIA president has made a statement about a possible return of Michael Masi into the race director position in 2023. If this happens, it will surely heat up the whole paddock again. The rule banning the jewelry during races is not a newly enforced rule, and it is in the low books since 2005. But it was never enforced, and it was a common thing to wear jewelry during the races. Actually, this rule has been introduced with a good scientific base to minimize the damage to the driver during an accident, as well as to avoid any issues during the medical treatment process. Expressing his view about the sudden enforcement of the jewelry ban rule, Wittich said, in the case that medical imaging is required to inform diagnosis following an accident, the presence of jewelry on the body can cause significant complication and delay. In the worst case, the presence of jewelry during imaging may cause further injury. Jewelry in and or around the airway can pose specific additional risks should it become dislodged during an accident and either ingested or inhaled. Unfortunately, this rule mainly affects the Mercedes driver, Lewis Hamilton, as he is the only driver who wears an extensive amount of jewelry and with permanent piercings on his body. In order to remove some jewelry, he has to undergo surgery. Under this situation, he refused to remove those jewelry, making some controversial statements against this rule. After the enforcement of the rule during the Australian GP, he continued to race with jewelry in the next race in Imola as well. even though he was threatened with a possible race ban unofficially. 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton said, "I don't have any plans on removing. I feel there are personal things you should be able to be who you are. There's stuff that I can't move, so I can't even take these out. These ones on my right ear, they're literally welded in. I will have to get them chopped off or something like that, so they will be staying." But he made a U-turn by agreeing to remove all the jewelry except his nose piercing for the Miami GP. Hamilton described this as a step backward for the sport, but he continued his protest against FIA by wearing extra jewelry during the press conference ahead of the Miami Grand Prix. Then it was reported that Lewis Hamilton had a short discussion with FIA doctor Sean Petherbridge before the commencement of the practice session of Miami GP, and it will be the main factor that affects Hamilton on the sudden change of mind regarding the rule. Even though Hamilton agrees to remove all the pieces of jewelry except the nose piercing, FIA seems to be unhappy until he removes the nose piercing too. Now, a cold war between Mercedes and FIA has started after the statement made by the FIA president regarding the jewelry ban issue. He said, "That's up to him. There are fines that apply. It's like if someone speeds on the roads. You can't stop them doing it, but they get fined, even if it was accidental. You can't let people off because they are your friends. There has to be one rule for all, and that's that." He then added, "I love jewelry. I absolutely love it. But in the car, there could be no choice. People say the rules, haven't been implemented before. Don't ask me why not. People can ask the old regime why that is the case." The FIA president added further. Now, Hamilton is given a 2-race grace period for the surgery to remove permanent jewelry attachments to his body. If Lewis Hamilton is not interested in removing his nose piercing within the next 2-week period, he will have to serve a ban of 2 races during the historical Monaco GP and Azerbaijan GP. But replying to the FIA statement on a possible race ban, he said, "If they stop me, then so be it. We've got a spare driver." Now the little spark has developed into a great wildfire, and no party seems to accept the conditions of others. But when they come to the racetrack, Mercedes has to obey the decision of FIA. If Hamilton faces a race ban, it may affect hugely on their standings, as Mercedes has already slipped into the midfield due to the issues within their 2022 Challenger. No one knows what happens next, but surely this small nose piercing will heat up the whole Formula One paddock within the next 2 races. Comment your idea regarding the possible race ban for Hamilton during the Monaco Grand Prix. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel to not miss anything related to Formula One. See you guys in the next video. Goodbye.